Indeed, G, and let's get into it. I mean, the SA Banking Risk Information Centre says several customers have fallen victim to solar equipment scams, and this is some South Africans even try to beat the blackout blues. Sabric also says rolling outages have direct implications for the way the industry manages risks. SA Banking Risk Information Centre CEO Nishal Mewalal joins us now to discuss this even further. Nishal, thank you for your time and good morning to you. I mean, this clearly being a concern, South Africans trying to find alternative ways to make, use of energy given the crisis that we're in. But you're saying more of them are running the risk of, having to deal with scammers who are taking advantage of the situation. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, and good morning to all the viewers out there. Yes, it's exactly where we find ourselves at the moment. What is currently going on is that some of the banks have reported to us that some of their customers have been the victim of these scams. And essentially what happens is individuals are now trying to find alternative energy solutions. They go online. More often than not, it's online. They identify websites in which these technologies are made available to them. And they go ahead and make a procurement, make a massive payment up front, because as you know, some of these technologies are quite expensive. And then only to discover that they either get the incorrect type of technology that they paid for, or conversely, they do not receive this at all and are defrauded on either front.
I mean, Nishal, on the note, I also understand that, you have to almost imagine these scenarios also affecting the banks and, the banking system. We're talking blackouts here, obviously customers and consumers being at risk due to these blackouts. Take me through what this collaborative and, multi-stakeholder sort of engagement looks like, and what scenarios you have to play in mind so that you have strategies in place to mitigate these potential problems and risks.
Yeah, so the sector has identified this concern for quite a while. As you know, the sector is governed by quite robust risk frameworks, and so part of the risk frameworks would require you to take into consideration the types of things that would impact your operational risk, as well as crime and security risk in the business. So part of the planning cycle would require various stakeholders to be working together, which does include the central bank itself, as well as other banking institutions like the Bank Association of South Africa. Sabric was involved, and then also other institutions like cash management institutions, SITASA, and obviously you cannot exclude the banks from this engagement. So the collaboration is between all of these institutions with the aim to identify scenarios as they develop, and scenarios would look at hypothetically what would happen in terms of a stage 8 load shedding event. How would we be able to ensure continuity in the business sector, in the financial business sector? And so there's various aspects that you look at, whether it'll be from managing cash and ensuring cash will get to customers, all the way to communication and even protest action and instability.
Yeah. I also want to touch on, just speaking of risk, operational risk, as well as crime and a security risk. What's the impact looking like due to the impact as well of these blackouts?
Well, it looks good, because what we can say at this point is that, we have not observed any direct or indirect destruction of banking property arising from any form of domestic instability from load shedding. So we've not seen any crimes directed towards the bank itself. In terms of operational risk, we've been able to test the contingencies in place, and we are able to ensure that business can continue for as long as there's a steady supply of, as an example, diesel. It's business as usual. The only aspect that we do seem to be a little bit concerned about is the event of a collapse of the communications grid, which doesn't sit, and data services, which doesn't sit in the banking arena. But certainly I think there's a hell of a lot of steps taken in that industry to protect against that.
Yeah. Earlier on, when we touched on, the issue of solar energy scams and, panels scams, we've seen also certain homes going up in flames, even on social media. Those visuals are going viral right now in estates, in standalone houses, infrastructure basically bearing the brunt for doing business basically with the scammers. How do you then know, Nishal, if you could give us some tips on whether or not the company you're dealing with might actually not be legit?
Yeah, sure. So I think there's some dead giveaways in the way you could do this, starting with looking at the URLs, the pages that you're going to. I think when you are doing some homework to buy some equipment, you've got to shop around, and as part of shopping around online, you begin to see trends in the way websites are designed. They look similar. You're also looking for websites where the prices are too good to be true, or hey, this is a really big bargain. This is a great deal. Also be careful for entities that don't have any form of physical presence. And be cautious on the entities that require you to pay the entire fee up front, because theoretically you're working blind. You don't know who's on the other end of the transaction. So you need to watch out for that. And also be cautious about what type of personal information you post on these web pages. Because if it is a fake website, then you do realize that you'll be giving up a lot of your personal information, which would include your name, surname, maybe even your ID number, where you live for a delivery purpose, and maybe your credit card details.
Yeah, and just I suppose briefly before I let you go, Nishal, is there any, sort of authorities that you can also call up and just check if that particular company is legit? I mean, do they have to be registered or accredited, for example, with any authorities? And perhaps as a consumer, I can just do my background check as well and just call up and say, hey, does this company actually have the right accreditation to offer me a service?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any form of regulatory authority that exists that gives some type of accreditation to these vendors. But what I do suggest is actually just do your homework, do some due diligence. That's the key thing here. Get a sense of whether these entities genuinely exist. They've been around for a while. Go on to sites where you could look at complaints against vendors, and you'll be able to get a sense of whether this is a trustworthy supply or not.
Indeed. That's sound advice, because you don't want to have to find yourself having more costs up your sleeve because of a wrong decision, not doing your homework. So thanks so much for that, advice, and also the conversation this morning. Very important. SA Banking Risk Information Centre CEO Nishal Mewalal, thank you for joining us.